Entering the Mayo experience.
Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog. The Week 11 Fantasy Football Rankings, starts, sits, sleepers, busts, and all the injuries that you need to know to set your lineups, because we're getting down to the playoff stretch. Additionally, today, thanks to our good friend, Ian Hartitz, who's not only providing the rankings for this episode, which you can find down in the description if you want the direct link to that, he has gone through, Ian, you've done the Lord's work, figuring out who has the best schedules for the next 4 weeks and during the fantasy playoffs. So we're going to go through that as at the beginning of each of the positions that we do. So congratulations on good research.
Hey, broke clock right twice a day, as they say. So good to have it going. I just feel like, we're 10 weeks in at this point. We can start to look ahead a little bit to the fantasy playoffs. So always a bit of a grain of salt. I know things can change, but at least for DST, maybe a couple running back and wide receiver sleepers out there, I think we got some good stuff.
Jake, you didn't take a victory lap on Jaden Higgins catching a touchdown like everyone did with Trevian Henderson finally having a good week.
I know, right? I should be. Jaden Higgins, and it was only going to take 9 weeks to get here. But thanks, Pat, for not reading The Athletic, because I've had the playoff matchups for 2 weeks now over there.
That costs money, Jake. That's like $1 a month or something.
I know. What's that Canadian, like $1.30? That's big money out there.
I mean, listen, it's $1.41 right now. The dollar is tanking.
Wow, it is. No, it's tanking not as much as, let's go. Jaden Higgins, told you.
Yeah, told you
Jaden
so.
Higgins, Troy Franklin, all year long.
Troy Franklin's actually been pretty good, in fairness.
I know. He's been good for a couple weeks. But that's you got to include another one in there. So I don't think it's a 1 week victory lap.
We'll do the DST rankings at the end of the episode. But, Ian, I did want to dig into the defenses that you can pick up right now for the next few weeks or the fantasy playoffs. Weirdly enough, New Orleans has the best schedule, don't they?
Yeah, I don't really trust them, though. Again, we're looking for defenses that ideally are good in real life, also actively competing for a playoff spot, so we're not going to have a bunch of dudes resting, and then hopefully have an offense that isn't going to continue to put them in horrible situations. So Tyler Shuck actually played pretty well last week, but guys, I continue to really think Tampa is the group we want. Still 2 more tough matchups here over these next 2 weeks, but because of that and their bye, they're down like to 26% rostered right now. They're going to get the Cardinals, Saints, Falcons, Panthers, and Dolphins to close out the season. So Tampa for the playoffs. In the near term, weeks 11 through 14, Ravens and Falcons got some nicey stretches.
Yeah, the Ravens the Ravens and Falcons are there. The Baltimore Ravens get Cleveland, the Jets, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati again for the next few weeks. And then Atlanta gets they're at home against Carolina this week, New Orleans, and the Jets the next 3 weeks. Like, just pick up one of them and just don't worry about it for a while, Jake.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is don't worry about it for a while. And there's a couple defenses that are out there, depending on who got dropped, who got picked up. Like, if you really have to dig deeper, the Bears still get turnovers. And for 2 weeks, they get the Vikings and the Steelers. So you get some opportunities there. But yeah, those would be the two that Ian said, those that were on my list as well.
Yeah, so those would be the big ones. For the fantasy playoffs, Ian, did anyone stick out to you as, like, Arizona would probably be on that list, Chicago and Dallas for this week would probably be 2 of the better streamers. I have that in my newsletter column and up at 4for4.com right now, the ones that you can stream through beyond the obvious ones. What is the Texans ownership right now? Do you know?
What is ownership doing? I don't know, man. So we'll see. I guess what's on there.
Like, how many? No, the rostership is like the ownership roster.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
There's 76% on Yahoo.
So in a quarter of leagues they're out there, they would be the defense to go get, wouldn't they?
I
yeah,
think
if
so.
you can get them,
like
100%, because they're nasty in real life too. I just figured that they weren't going to be available.
Yeah, I would feel like Jake in competitive leagues that they'd probably be gone.
Yeah, they're probably long roster. I mean, the fact that that's Yahoo, that means that they're highly rostered at this point.
They do, though. They have a smash matchup this week, and then after that, 3 straight tough ones. So we do see that sometimes where people just, don't want to deal with that tough matchup. Maybe they get cut there. So they actually do have the second best fantasy playoff schedule. So by all means, everyone, you can find the Texans out there. Go get them.
Yeah, the two I would be targeting right now because of either bye weeks or tough matchups, that if people drop Houston, scoop them up, put them on your roster. And Jake, the other one would be Kansas City, who have like a pretty brutal 4-week stretch and then a great fantasy playoffs.
That's actually the one I was going to bring up, the fact that they do have the Chargers in week 15, but they have the Texans right before that, and they finish with the Titans and, of course, Bo Nix, potential turnovers with the Broncos to finish things out. So that's an interesting one. The one other one, I was just looking at them. They have Where is it? Jacksonville. If you don't, obviously you don't want to play Indianapolis at the end, but for the first 2 weeks, they get the Jets and the Broncos for turnover potential.
Yeah, for me this week, and we'll just do the DSTs now. Like, you're going to start your very obvious ones. I have 4 that are under 25% owned if you're in desperate need of a defense. Atlanta was number 1 on my list, Ian, against Carolina at home. I had Miami over in Madrid against Washington, or Washington against Miami, because both those defenses are wildly unowned, and who knows what's going to happen. Who even knows who's playing for Washington at this point? They just might forfeit the game. You get a shutout if that's the case, I think. I think that's how it works in fantasy. And then the other one would be just Arizona this week against San Francisco, and just, it's not a great option, but at least they're at home. You think that, if you can contain McCaffrey a little bit, force Mac Jones to the air, you have some opportunities, because they're just so banged up everywhere on the field.
I'm definitely with your Falcons being number 1. I think the Bears, as Jake said, are a good break glass, in case of emergency group. They lead the NFL in turnovers. And with J.J. McCarthy, sacks and interceptions, we know are going to be on the table. So I will say, God, it's so gross. If no one else is available, the Cowboys, they got Quinnen Williams. They should be getting DeMarvion Overshown back here potentially this week. The Raiders, already bad offensive line, just sent that other, Jackson Powers dude in the IR as well. Geno Smith also takes a lot of sacks and interceptions, but we very much prefer the Falcons and then probably the Bears if at all possible.
I'm actually I'll co-sign on Dallas. They actually missed the list because I think they were like 26% owned for me, Jake. They are listen, they can get absolutely shredded and you might end up in the minus. That's always a risk you take. But they face so many passing attempts against that it's a great spot to be in for like a high upside fantasy defense.
Yeah, I think the high upside is where you said it. So actually on Yahoo, they're only 8% roster.
Oh.
So 2 interesting ones that I thought, if you're looking at the 50% range, I'm actually surprised the Patriots are available as they are, around 50% going against the Jets. Also, Green Bay, I guess because of the bye or who they were facing against the Giants, also barely over 50% rostered. But if you want to get to like a 38% team on the other side, the Bears, the Vikings, you can go the other way with the Vikings defense against the Bears at only 38%.
Can you merge them together? Like, can you have the Bears defense for like the first 2.5 quarters, then switch over to Minnesota's defense for the final 1.5 quarters? Yeah.
That'd be a really nice thing to be able to do. Honestly, you could do the same thing with like the Steelers in half. Well, actually, you get the Steelers for like the first 2 or 3 quarters and then just bail in the 4th.
Let's move to running backs. And before we get into the week 11 rankings, let's talk about some guys coming down the stretch, Ian, who, I mean, as you wrote that, like if Bucky Irvin can somehow get back, that would be fantastic. But let's say this just keeps him out the rest of the year. I don't think that's off the table at this point. He's not going to play again this week, it looks like, and probably for the next few weeks. That you have Rachaad White, and then you have Sean Tucker, who was utilized a lot more. Like, would you go pick up Sean Tucker just in case because of the schedule coming down the stretch?
I think so, man. Honestly, at this point, he's kind of broken into that RB3 range in his own right, because as much as Rachaad White dominated the usage those first 2 or 3 games without Bucky, these last 2, it actually has been a bit more, of a 50-50 split, arguably. So still lean Rachaad White more weeks than not, but no, I think Tucker makes a lot of sense. Second best fantasy playoff schedule, only behind the Commanders, though, guys. So I know Bill Krosky-Merritt has let us down. He's been literally, I think, dead last in yards per carry over these last 5 weeks, but Chris Rodriguez hurt his shoulder, and man, when you get the Cowboys and Giants in 2 of those last 3 weeks, I do think he can make the most out of some of those opportunities late.
So just pick up Jeremy McNichols instead, Jay, because that's who's going to end up scoring the points.
You want the other one. I am firmly on, yes, I would pick up Sean Tucker. I put him in the conversation at this point of like, I would still get Blake Corum before him, but like pushing that range, because I actually put Rachaad White in the worry report. Since he's been the starter, Rachaad White, what do we know about Rachaad White previous to this year? Is that he's volume dependent. Well, as a starter, 3.4 yards per carry. And then even with 18 receptions as a starter, he's still only averaging 3.9 yards per touch. That's how bad it's been. Like, there's nothing optically, subjectively, whatever metric, whatever you watch it or you look at the numbers, Rachaad White hasn't looked good. Sean Tucker's looked better. So I think a 50-50 split is coming. And I don't think I do think there's a non-zero chance that potentially White becomes the secondary piece until Irving comes back. And all of a sudden Sean Tucker's leading the way. I don't think White would be used in the passing game, but I think that he could lose and potentially fall into like 35% of the touches.
The 2 other players that you identified with fantastic playoff schedules, Ian, Chase Brown being one, Trevion Henderson being the other one. Trey Benson could probably be put on that list as well, because Arizona has very soft matchups week 16 and week 17. And I feel like he was just dropped in a lot of spots, and he might be back as soon as this week. We don't know.
Yeah, it was weird. Jonathan Gannon was asked about it last week and just said he's doing better, but didn't really give us an actual timetable. So Trey Benson, I'm with you. We also saw Bam Knight get an ankle injury, so maybe in the near term, Amari DiMercado, who again somehow managed to stay on this team, actually has been looking better recently, and he would be the guy in the near term while Benson remains sidelined. But I'm with you on Benson. But yeah, Travion Henderson, guys always just knew it was going to be a rough 9 weeks. But I said back in August, okay, once Ramondre Stevenson, Antonio Gibson, Terrell Jennings all get injured, Travion would pay off. So again, I know it's been horrible, but maybe better days could be ahead. The other one was Chase Brown, as you mentioned. And again, a low-key injury to keep an eye on. Samaje Perine before their bye had a high ankle sprain, guys. And after that, we literally saw Chase Brown get back to that 90% plus snap rate that he had down the stretch last year. So offense has been grooving with Flacco as is, but we also got word that Joe Burrow could be back by Thanksgiving. I think Chase Brown might be gearing up to have another, second half just boom.
Jake, I would rather trade for Chase Brown than Henderson. I would, in fact, be looking to sell Henderson either right now or after Thursday. And I don't know what he's really going to do against the Jets. Probably a ton because of all the injuries that the Patriots have in this backfield. But you can sell two big weeks, and maybe it ends up just blowing up in your face. It's a terrible idea. But I would try to pitch it on eventually Ramondre is going to be back, and that they're going to use him. They were trying to use Jennings before he got hurt, as Ian pointed out. It took a confluence of circumstances for Henderson, and he just broke a big one, which we expected him to do. That was the reason that he ended up getting drafted so high, but you put him back in a two-man or three-man backfield, but after 2 big weeks, he came in with all that hype before the season, and he has this glorious schedule to end the year that he might not get the volume to go and absolutely smash in the playoffs for you. I feel like you can sell the best case scenario to someone in your league and really shoot over your skis in a trade coming back for Henderson. If you didn't get anything for him or equal value, then screw it, don't do it. But if you could go out and get 2 pieces that you need or a high-end receiver, I would be tempted to go do that right now.
I mean, even in a 1-for-1, I think there's managers out there that would send you Derrick Henry to get Travion Henderson at this point. And that's the kind of moves that you should be making. And you're looking to do. You're taking advantage of these people that just look at names and production. And then you bring up the biggest part about it is a lot of times the perception is because of the hype. The hype with so many people talking about them in the preseason that once these players hit, they go to the moon. And not only the fact that the Terrell Jennings, you brought up, Terrell Jennings got the first touches before he got hurt in that game. Not saying that Travion doesn't end up with more in that game just because of how things go. But would anybody be shocked that Dearness Johnston was now a 50-50 split this week with he's the next one up now. So I just don't trust Mike Vrabel as far as we can throw him. And he's a big dude, so I'm not throwing him anywhere.
I went and looked at the trade value market on Yahoo right now. There's been one trade made 1v1 for Travion Henderson. Today, Ian, it was Henderson straight up for Barkley.
Yeah.
See?
That's where we're at. Jake called. I think the Derrick Henry call was good too. So, hey, Henderson made the most of his opportunities. Maybe that genie's out of the bottle and they can't get him back in. But I tend to think that, again, once Mondre is going to be healthy, even if Henderson gets more work, I don't see it being better than 50-50.
And that's where I'm at too. And maybe Henderson or maybe Ramondre ends up out for the rest of the year. We don't know that. But if you're trying to project forward with the trade deadline coming up, I think he's just a very valuable sell high right now. And I would probably put the sell high bell curve at, he's going to screw you 35% of the time by being awesome. And 65% of the time, we just saw his best week, basically. Or this week will be his best week.
I agree with that. I mean, I'm looking right now. And the trade chart that I usually look, because shout out Alex Korf, he used to be over The Athletic, and I always reference he's over at Draft Sharks and helps with theirs right now. To give you an idea, he still has Travion Henderson all the way down, or their chart, I should say. He's all the way down in the range of J.K. Dobbins and Kenneth Walker, to just give you an idea. And I'm sure that's going to be updated today. He'll probably climb a few spots, but that's the reference, that's the range I think his true value is. I want to sell him for that because obviously what your point here is, Pat, you're trying to maximize on the trade value. You'd be looking to get more of where they have Breece Hall and Chase Brown. But that's what, bring it up. If you could do Chase Brown 1-for-1, everything we've been talking about, Ian said the same, when Samaje Perine got hurt, it wasn't just 90%. I think there was one snap for Taj Brooks after that point. That's 99%. So if Chase Brown would be a great one to go after.
You could I feel like you could get way more than Chase Brown for Travion Henderson today.
Oh, sure.
But
the point being is, I would even take that.
Yeah, I would. I think I would. I like Chase Brown better the rest of the season as well. But I feel like just how they are valued, Ian, you could get Chase Brown and a receiver 3 or some sort of depth if you needed it for Henderson.
Yeah, Brown's been coming on a little bit strong, but again, the Henderson hype is just so out of control in August, to your point, because people like me are mouthing off about it every single chance we got. So I do think there could be an opportunity where people want to finally be right on the rookie, the second half booms, and all that jazz. So again, I think it makes a lot of sense.
Sean says that he just traded Jamison Williams for Henderson in a PPR redraft league, 3 receiver plus flex. That I feel like that's a great trade up option because after this week, you trade Jamison Williams for Trevian Henderson. He goes off on Thursday night. Then you can trade Henderson for like a better receiver than Jamison Williams.
Which is fair, but I'm also looking to get Jamison Williams right now because the biggest problem we talked about a few weeks ago is that Morton was killing Jamison Williams. He was turning him back into 2 years ago, Jamison Williams, and just sending him on go routes and posts down the field. Well, guess what? He's not calling the plays anymore. And what we just saw in this last game is now that we're back to Campbell and Campbell loves some Jamison Williams, he's using him more over the middle of the field. He's using him more frequently in his opportunities. So all that being said, I agree with what your point there, but I would also still be looking to go get Jamison Williams if people are still concerned that that might have been like a 1 week thing.
We'll stick with you on this, Jake. Would you rather have Singletary or Sean Tucker on your team rest of the season?
Sean Tucker. Because it's what you talk about all the time, like Pat. Like you present the opportunities here. Let's say Singletary is clearly the lead rest of the way. Sean Tucker is clearly the lead rest of the way. Who do you want? You want Sean Tucker because he's on the Buccaneers.
I say, Ian, I agree with Jake's assessment of that. My only pushback would be that what would you say the potential Bucky Irving comes back at some point this season? Like 80%, probably?
I hope.
Yeah, I mean, Bowles said yesterday that there's still no timetable for him or Godwin. And as we know with the Buccaneers, man, it's really one of the more frustrating teams to try to figure this out. So I'd say 70% chance that Bucky gets back at some point. But I hear you, that would be the difference. Scatterboo obviously done for the year. So Singletary 1 injury away, truly from getting up there. But it has been favorably a little bit more towards Sean Tucker. So near-term Tucker, but it's a good point. Probably Singletary if you're just, again, in for the long haul.
Yeah, so Tracy gets hurt, Singletary becomes Tony Pollard. Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, I guess that's the pushback on it. Like, how valuable, really, with no bye weeks, is a starting Devin Singletary for the Giants, with maybe Russell Wilson playing quarterback the rest of the year?
Yeah, and he's got a week 14 bye.
Ugh, that's gross.
Yep.
And listen, it's Scatterboo. They probably pumped him up with like TRT or something. He'll be back. Give him a new leg.
Actually, don't the Buccaneers have week 14 bye too? No, or they hit their bye already. It's Giants, Patriots, 49ers, and Panthers.
I'm worried about Scatterboo next year. We don't have to go too deep into it, but like for them saying, "Oh, Dak Prescott came back from it in one season," yeah, he looked like a complete shell of himself mobility-wise. So that's going to be a tough one, man. Just for someone who, again, relies so much on just physical being a bigger dog than you are out there, man. I'm probably going to be fading that dude to cost next year.
Do you like Tua in the fantasy playoffs? Ian, I know he has the second best schedule, weeks 15 to 17. That's at the Steelers, not great, and outdoors in December, so probably not great for Tua. But at home against the Bengals, at home against the Buccaneers in the final 2 weeks. Like, would you chance it and start Tua then, do you think?
Probably not. I'd like to think I'm going to have a better quarterback option with no buys at that point in the season. So Tua, honestly, I thought played his best game of the year against the Bills. So maybe he starts to get things going. But honestly, just again, without Tyreek, like he's got Jalen Waddle, he's got to throw some screens to Devon Achane. After that, not really even working with too much out there. So honestly, the one of the better tight end stretches is at the end of the season. So if you guys have seen anyone dropping Darren Waller, still gets opportunity to get him on that IR and maybe benefit there down the stretch.
Yeah, or
well,
if he doesn't
Pat,
come back.
Can I take your question one step further?
Yeah, let's hear it.
At this point, would you take Tua with that schedule or Jordan Love against the Broncos, Bears, and Ravens? So they get the Broncos and Ravens in 2 out of 3 of the games. Like Jordan Love's looked miserable.
I would probably take Tua there. We did see Jordan Love run a little bit on Monday Night Football, but basically he's been Tua on the ground all year long. He doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
I will
Tua
say,
has those
man,
random 3-4 touchdown games just randomly for at least you get that.
I know Love hasn't looked great, but Christian Watson like going up like a DB when the ball hits him in the head, couple like back-to-back 3rd and 4th down drops. I don't know, man. Like Bo
Did you see he admitted that he should have caught that ball that he played defense on Twitter?
Yeah.
Somebody posted the highlight and said, looking back, should Watson have caught this? And he reposted and said yes. So at least he admitted it.
Smart man. I appreciate that.
T. Hamilton asks, hey, shout out to T. Hamilton, who's been here every single week. If you want to ask a question, you just need to be subbed to Mayo Media Network. Turn those notifications on as well. Smash the like while you're here. Should I pick up Taj Brooks with Pirine having a high ankle sprain and drop DeMercado? I would not. As someone who owns Taj Brooks as my last round keeper, who's been on my bench all year long, like hopefully something happens going into next year and I can keep him at a great value. But like they do not want to use him, as you pointed out, Jake.
No, until Benson is back, I want DeMercado, whether it's Carter or Bam Knight, just because in the split backfield, I want the one with more upside in the passing game. So I would keep DeMercado.
Who wins this
Agreed.
trade?
On it, just real quick. Honestly, I think Brooks would be a next one up for now, but Zach Moss is still out there. Like we could see a situation where I think the Bengals have such little trust in Taj Brooks, they just sign someone off the street if worse comes to worse.
Ian, trade recap for you: DK Metcalf and Chase Brown for Saquon. Who wins the trade? It's about even to me.
Yeah, I think I honestly lean Chase Brown side because just pure usage and what I'm expecting the rest of the way. I call that close to a wash between him and Saquon. Then you get DK on top of it.
Yeah.
They DK until the final week, the last 3 out of the 4. He's got Baltimore, Miami, Detroit, and then they get the Browns in the final game.
Lee asks you, Jake, rest of the season, Otton, lost Gadsden, lost Kincaid. Do you like Otton the rest of the season with all of the Buccaneers injuries?
He's my favorite streamer, and also to just pick up and play. Somebody asked me on The Athletic whether him or Ertz, and I would take Otton at this point because without Chris Godwin, he's in the tight end one conversation. The question is, does Godwin ever come back? And at this point, no question mark. Like, so you might as well just ride with Otton.
Ian, in the fantasy playoffs, would you pick up Joe Burrow? Because his options are Goff, Joe Burrow, and Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, bro. Go get him. It's Joe Burrow.
Well, hold on. Undercut that. I'm curious your guys' opinion because somebody asked me that same question, but without the golf, it was just, should I pick up Daniels or Burrow? Because Daniels didn't get put on the.
Daniels isn't playing again this year. I hate to break it down.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think if they're in the playoff race, he is, but that's the question. Like, I don't think the Commanders are going to be in the playoff race.
See, I agree with you that if they were pushing for a playoff spot, you would see him. They're not pushing for a playoff spot.
You could argue the same thing. I know Burrow said he hopes Thanksgiving-ish was actually the real quote. And I'm not coming for Ian on that. I saw a lot of people misquote that yesterday and by Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving-ish, so it could be the week after that. But if the Bengals lose the next 3 and they're out of it, they're not going to bring back Joe Burrow either. So it could go both ways. But at least Joe Burrow's practicing already as of today.
I guess the switch in that would be for me, Ian. I think that the Bengals can, even with 3 losses, could still potentially linger in that division because if the Ravens just lose a game and the Steelers lose like 2 more, they're still like a game and a half back.
Yeah, and I think at this point, Burrow, like he's healed. Okay, it's going to be ready to go, and I think he's going to go out there and try to play some football. He could get shut down. I don't know for sure or anything, but just with the Jaden Daniels elbow situation, like there's no freaking way, guys. I'm not a doctor, contrary to popular belief, but I just have a very hard time believing that's going to be anything close to 100% by the end of the season. So I think Burrow like actually will be around 100% by like week 14 or so. Daniels is the one who like, okay, could you potentially play through this pain like for a playoff berth? Okay, that's a different question.
It was only dislocated, and it's his non-throwing arm. There's no tears, no breaks. I don't know how, but it was only dislocated. Like I say, like only, but it's not like the end of the world for Daniels.
No, but if he's not 100% and they have nothing to play for, like just play Mary
Agreed.
And get a better pick.
Yeah, agreed.
Don't hurt Daniels.
Oh, speaking of getting a pick, you know exactly the Giants just Giants, right? They were going to have a top 3 pick with Dable, and now watch, they're going to win 2 or 3 games and get knocked out of it because they got rid of the idiot.
It's going to be tough to win games with Russell Wilson if he's actually the starter.
Free Dart's going to come back. Oh, please don't do that because then they will win games.
No, they won't. They'll just lose games more funly.
Yeah. More funly?
Yeah.
I love that.
Last question before we get to the rankings for week number 11. Should I trade Brock Bowers and CeeDee Lamb for Rashad White, CeeDee, and Bowers for Bijan and Judkins? I would say no.
I like Bowers' side.
I actually like the running back side, but that's only if I'm loaded at wide receiver. It's not even so much Bowers. Like Bowers is, as we just seen, because of the Raiders, is going to be up and down as it gets. So getting 2 RB1s, that's tough to like. Again, I love some CeeDee Lamb.
Who was the other running back? Bijan and who?
It was Bijan and Judkins.
I don't know if Judkins is an RB1, bro. He's been RB24 the last 5 weeks.
Yeah, Judkins gets RB1 work. Unfortunately, he plays for the Browns.
Yeah, that's short, but like, okay, so how many running backs? I think that's in my mind is like, I would take him as a fringe RB1 the rest of the season because I know he's getting that workload.
I would take him too. I guess the way that you would have to look at it, like, would you trade CeeDee straight up for Bijan? Yes, you would. So, I mean, there's that part of it too.
It comes down to Bowers and White and that's what I go to. Like,
Yeah.
what's your depth chart? If you need running backs, then yes, but otherwise, I get Ian's point.
Yeah, what do you drop off? What do you lose with Bowers at the tight end slot is also the thing too. Like, yeah, he's not going to be consistent every single week, but he's also going to put up performances that are again, let's talk about the bell curve. Like, what percentage of weeks do you think that Brock Bowers finishes as a top 5 tight end the rest of the season, Jake?
50-50.
I'd say it's like 70-30, Ian.
So 90-10 or something like that. I know last week sucked, but come on.
Wait,
Brock
hold.
Bowers is
Last
one
week's
most.
hold on. The dude, like, and I know he's playing through injury, but he has 2 double-digit performances this year. Like,
I mean,
that,
he has
like
the
that.
third highest fantasy scoring game, second highest fantasy scoring game of the year.
That's
man.
one game.
Yeah,
and that's Geno Smith.
They also made him play through an injury for 4 weeks.
I have 5 weeks. So if you want to give him that, like, I'll give him that, like that. Well, not 5, but like the 5th week before he finally got hurt. So yeah, 4 games. But the point being is like it's still Geno Smith and the Raiders. Like, that's my issue, is like, it has nothing to do with Brock Bowers, but we just saw him. And like, I know Denver's a bad matchup, but you got to do better than that. Like, you should be peppering him no matter the matchup. And that's what it comes down to, is Geno Smith in the offense. So I say 50-50 the rest of the way. We can put that dollar bet on the Canadian loogie. Looney.
A loogie? A Canadian loogie?
Yeah.
He did give me some more context here. He also has Jake Ferguson on his team.
Goodbye. I'm making that trade.
Yeah, I think with another top
That
8-ish tight end, I would probably make the trade.
Yeah.
That helps.
Last one. Jacoby Myers or Parker Washington when Thomas comes back?
Myers.
Yeah, I think it's Myers too.
He'll play
Unfortunately,
outside.
be
Parker
bad
Washington's
too.
going to get suckered into or not suckered in, but hurt by the snap counts. Just pure snap counts only being out there in the slot.
I think Jake's right.
All right. Well, we're going to go through Ian's full running back rankings and all of the other rankings as well. And you can continue loading your questions into the chat by subscribing to Mayo Media Network. But we're going to take a quick break. See you on the other side. You know how much time I spend researching bets and lineups and shows and getting everything ready for you? So when it's actually time to sleep, I need it to count. That's why I switched to a Helix mattress. And honestly, game changer. I have Helix mattresses all over my house. My wife and I have one. The guest room has one. My kids have one. I got a kid on the way, and eventually they're going to have one too. Even Jared over at the studio living there, I got him a Helix mattress as well. Populated with Helix, you need to do it too. I used to wake up with a stiff back and night sweats. Now I just sleep through the night. No tossing around, no overheating. It's just comfortable and supportive. I took their quiz, I tailored it to myself, and boom, I got exactly what I needed from the mattress I deserve. I think you deserve a nice one too. So go to helixsleep.com/Mayo for 27% off and exclusive to Pat Mayo Experience listeners. That's helixsleep.com/Mayo for 27% off. Make sure to enter my show name after checkout so they know I sent you. helixsleep.com/Mayo. Here's a stat that stops people in their tracks. Nearly half of American adults say they would suffer financial hardship within 6 months if they lost their primary income earner. If that stat hits close to home, you're not alone, and you're not out of options. With Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies starting at just $276 a year for $1 million in coverage. It's an easy way to protect the people you love and feel good about the future. Policy Genius makes it easy on you by helping you compare your options by getting quotes from America's top insurers in just a few clicks to find your lowest price. And you can talk to a team of licensed agents who can walk you through the entire process step by step. So, secure your family's future with Policy Genius. Head to policygenius.com/Mayo to compare free life insurance quotes from top companies and see how much you can save. That's policygenius.com/Mayo. Welcome back to the Pat Mayo Experience, digging into Ian Hartitz's wire running back rankings for week number 11. You can find the full list down in the description. You can find Jake's down there as well. They come out, however, on midnight Tuesday. Mine come out Wednesday afternoon in the free Mayo Media newsletter and up at 4for4.com as well, completely free. Please go check that out. Number 1, McCaffrey, Bijan, Gibbs, Josh Jacobs, Devin Achane, or Achane, as some people call him. Saquon Barkley, James Cook III, Ashton Genty, Javonte Williams, Rico, Chase Brown, as previously pointed out, Derrick Henry down at number 12. That's your running back ones. Into twos, Kyron, Henderson, Judkins, Hall, Warren, Aaron Jones, Sonor, DeAndre Swift, Travis Etienne, Kimani Vidal at 21, Rashad White, Isaiah Pacheco. And then at number 24, Ian, you have J.K. Dobbins, who I don't know if he's going to play this week.
Doesn't sound good, man. Whenever we hear guys getting a second opinion, that's usually a good sign the first opinion wasn't something that they liked hearing. So if we do see Dobbins out of the picture, I got some gray in my beard, guys. I'm old enough to know that Sean Payton, trying to guess his usage doesn't always work out for us. So it is a little bit risky. But RJ Harvey, man, would be a candidate to all of a sudden see 15 plus touches per game. And hey, he leads all running backs in PPR points per touch. So I would probably move Harvey right up into that Jalen Warren, Aaron Jones tier. First thought is probably RB18 right behind Warren.
RB18, Jake, how far would you move up RJ Harvey, and how do you think that split would go between him and the bidet?
The bidet, I wouldn't be shocked if they activate off practice squad or find somebody else because it is Sean Payton. But I would keep him behind Jones and Swift and ETN. So I would honestly just put him at 21 just because I know their workloads. I know the upside, but this just comes down to, do I trust Sean Payton? And that's a hard no.
Question comes about Rico Dowdle. You have Rico Dowdle at number 10 in the rankings, Ian. Many people are talking about, what do I do with Chuba Hubbard? He doesn't do anything. I would hold on to Chuba Hubbard because we saw Rico pop up last week with a quad injury. Like, Chuba Hubbard is one Rico injury away from being like running back 13 again in the rankings this week.
No, I think that's it. I went through handcuff tiers last week in my 10 Things article, which is published on Wednesday or Thursday over at fantasylife.com. And I had seven guys, and Rashad White, because of that usage, probably falls out of it. So I would say the top 6 handcuffs: Chuba Hubbard, RJ Harvey, Cal Monungai, Tyler Algier, Brian Robinson, Blake Corum. So there's some other guys that are pretty close to that. But I'm with you, man. As much as Chuba is not a factor right now, we saw him work as a legit RB1 last season. Maybe this lack of work has gotten him a little more healthy. God forbid Rico misses time. Chuba would not be maybe in the top 10 like Rico, but he'd be tough to keep out of the top 15 at a minimum.
No Isaiah Pacheco likely this week either. You had him at number 23, Ian. Jake, how would
really?
you? Yeah,
I
probably
thought he could be back.
No, they said late yesterday that it looks dicey for this week.
Damn.
So between Hunt and Smith and Clyde Edwards-Helaire activated. He's on the roster again, Jake. I would go with Hunt above all these guys because I know that they're going to give him goal line touches.
I would too. And I think that Hunt would go in front of both Seattle guys for me, but right around where actually just put him in for Pacheco.
Yeah, I think that's what I would do too, Ian. Just swap Pacheco for Kareem Hunt in your rankings.
I give him the nod over Rashad White as well, potentially Vidal, and then that's about the right spot. So he's been the workhorse as much as everyone wants Brashard Smith to be a thing, and he's been okay on his design touches, just still such overwhelming gadget usage. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was getting more pure RB touches seemingly than Brashard Smith. So maybe we get that, post-buy rookie bump thing going on here, but Kareem Hunt for this week.
Chad says that the Bills D just shut down the Chiefs last week, so I wouldn't be surprised if Denver at home did something similar. I mean, the Bills D also just did not shut down Miami's run defense as well. So who knows what's going on? The Bills D is good once every 4 weeks. You have to try to figure out the week that they're going to end up being good. But T. Hamilton says, which RB that's not a top 10 should we target that's a buy low? I think we all kind of agreed it's Chase Brown, right?
It's Chase Brown, and the fact that, if he's not top 10, the short term, I would say Jalen Warren, given the schedule, but that schedule doesn't get so favorable at the end of the year. But at least for the short term, I would go get Warren.
Vidal, Ian, 21st in your rankings. I feel like I would play him above Warren, Breece Hall, Judkins. I'd have him right around Trevion Henderson, I think.
No.
No,
probably not.
Your name's not Ian, so I'm not concerned about you answering.
I will
that
say,
question.
some of these guys, Warren being at home against the Bengals and then having Aaron Jones at home against the Bears, they're just actually running pretty hot with some decent matchups. But Vidal, it's just, man, 2 weeks ago, Jared Patterson was getting a little bit more involved. Obviously, it wasn't the case on Sunday night. He did his thing against the Steelers there. But just, again, Jacksonville does have a pretty sturdy front seven going on, and just that offensive line with the Chargers, man, really is tough to trust. So good for Vidal, making the most out of 2 or 3 of these games here, but for this week, I think he's about right.
No running back on the Chargers since I believe Omarion went down. Jake has touched the ball inside the 10-yard line outside of Vidal.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Look, the volume got him there. Like watching that game, and actually, if you look at the yards before contact, that credit to the Chargers. Ian just brought it up. The Chargers' offensive line was doing work in that game, which was a little bit surprising because the Steelers' run defense has been better than their pass defense. They're just letting everybody throw on them, and I don't know what happened. Maybe that's what their plan was, is to kind of try and drop back and stop Herbert, because they did kind of keep him in check, so to speak. But they were just getting gashed on the defensive front. So, and I'm not taking too much away from Vidal. I had him way too low last week, admittedly. I had him as an RB3, mostly because I watched Vidal, and he's just an average above replacement running back. Like, you can find him, Devin Singletary's, Tyrone Tracy. Like, he's just an okay running back.
So
that
Chase
game
Brown.
No, Chase Brown's better than that. It took he had over 20 touches in that game and still didn't even have 90 yards until that late touchdown, which you brought up, that's the saving grace, is that if he doesn't get that late touchdown, and I'm not saying that to say, like, this is why I wouldn't put him to the names that you had, because without that touchdown, he was like RB20, even with all those touches, over 20 touches in that game. So if they get into the red zone, yeah, they're going to turn to him. And yes, you're 100% right about that. I just don't like playing the touchdown game with him. So that's why I wouldn't put him over those names. But I get your point. I get, like, maybe if you want to say ETN on the other side of it, but I can't push him that much higher, just because the volume was everything that had to do with that game.
That's true, though, Pat. I mean, you take away Jonathan Taylor's touchdowns this year, and what do we really have,
Nothing. He's a yardage merchant. He's Quinshon Judkins.
Let me see if I can find the straw man. Hold on a second.
Ian, would you trade Henderson for a Dunze?
God, it's been tough.
Yes.
I know you don't like the Bears' schedule at the end of the year.
Probably. The problem with the Dunze, man, we've had these 5 games back. He's finished top 10 twice. And he's finished outside the top 60 3 times. So he has 2 really good matchups coming up. So I'd probably still lean.
He wasn't healthy. He was playing through injury for 2 of those games.
Who is healthy at this point?
I've been holding Algier all year long with Bijan the past 2 games. Would you trade / sabotage the Bijan owner to get some value, or just hold him? I think I just hold him, honestly.
Top 3 handcuffs under 35% rostered are Algier, Brian Robinson, and Blake Corum right now.
Algier is now entering the David Montgomery conversation, where you can start him, because I don't know if people saw this, but Bijan, the second most routes run for the Falcons last week. They're using them, and that's not just out of the backfield. Some of those are out of the backfield. They're lining them up on the line of scrimmage as a wide receiver, and I'm just pointing out to say that I say Algier could be an RB3 going forward in the David Montgomery realm, where there's going to be weeks where David Montgomery, we've seen, basically does nothing for you. But that usage, and by the way, you speak about carries inside the 10, inside the 5, Pat. Guess who's got all of them and has none for the Falcons? Algier has all of them. Bijan has none of them as recent. So that's the big upside there, is that he's going to get that touchdown equity. So I like the thought, because he doesn't help the other manager outside of if Bijan gets hurt. So he's not even going to get the starting value out of him. So if you get somebody to help your lineup, but if he's playing in your flex, I don't hate Algier in your flex at this point.
Would you trade Dak for Darnold? I wouldn't.
Not gonna be
no. Yeah.
This guy says he has Charbonnet, Marks, Jones, Bijan, and Tracy, 14-team PPR, but he feels like he has 0 running backs, as they're also questionable. I mean, Bijan Robinson's one of those fucking guys. What are you talking about?
And Jones is on the up and up. I mean, I thought it was going to be 1A, 1B with Mason, and it was to start the year, but it's been the Aaron Jones show those last 2 weeks.
Aaron Jones he had his highest share this past week, coming off a game where he got hurt.
I get that you took Bijan probably 1st or 2nd overall, and then you watch Jonathan Taylor score all the fantasy points. And even though Algier steals touchdowns from him, let's not pretend like Bijan's been bad in fantasy.
The RB5.
No.
Yeah, chill out.
Any of the guys from down the list, outside the running back 2 category, Jake, that you see in Ian's rankings that you would like to move up, or you think might have a pretty good week? Like we talked about RJ Harvey. If it is just DeMercado and Bam Knight is out, I would think I would put DeMercado up if Benson sits again, probably like above Tyrone Tracy.
Yeah, I don't love Tracy, period, because it worked 1 week, but didn't the week before that. I don't trust this back. And also no Dable. So you have to switch to Kafka, and who's like, is he still going to be calling the plays? Or I guess now, is he going to be calling the plays? So I get your point with DeMercado. I would love to trust and say that Woody Mark should be even higher, but don't trust that situation, because we've played this game before, and then the very next week they go right back to the split and Nick Chubb being the goal line option. So I would love to be able to trust that one. but I don't. The only one that I would clearly move up, regardless of injury situation, is Sean Tucker. But we already covered Sean Tucker and why I would move him up.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about, like, I would play Spears over Pollard this week, just like you have it, Ian, and I wouldn't feel good about either of them. I probably would gamble on Woody Marks just because of the matchup. Maybe he can break a big one.
That's the one, because we did see, a season high snap rate. He really dominated touches despite having kind of a weird ankle. Maybe it was just a cramp. Like he was trying to get to the sideline. Then
I thought he was done for. He looked dead.
I know. It looked horrible.
I did too.
So came back out there, did his thing. Nick Chubb only 5 carries, but actually was pretty darn good with those carries. So I'm kind of with Jake, where I just expect it to swing back the other way a little bit. Would love to be wrong, because I certainly got Mark stashed plenty of places. So otherwise it would just be DeMercado if Bam Knight is out. He gets up there into that same kind of Tracy Marks range there.
We should be rooting for it, Ian, because if Woody Marks has another good game, we can come victory lap next week and said we told you this was going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
10 weeks into the season.
Listen to the 1 hour, 15-minute mark in my June 23rd podcast where I mentioned his existence. Everyone praise me, right?
I would be somewhat skeptical about that Woody Marks snap share, even post-injury, coming back into the game. And this isn't just because Nick Chubb screwed me royally on an under-rushing prop that I bet on him, because he randomly got a 20-yard carry on that final drive to hit us over. Like, what the hell's going on here? It's just they were down 17-0 after, 10 minutes into that game. Like, that is not the Nick Chubb game plan.
Right.
That if they're, 7.5, 9-point favorites against the Titans, maybe they run the ball a ton.
It was I think that was his first start
that.
of the season, though, to be fair. So that's the one thing kind of trending. We kind of saw with Bill Krosky Merritt. I know the production didn't happen, but when you do get that actual start, I do think it's a little bit significant. Because then at that point, you had to be like, hey, Chubb, take a step back and practice,
Is Parker Washington a sell high candidate or hold him? I don't know what anyone would give you for Parker Washington.
Yeah.
Yes, but you'd have to be in an inexperienced league.
Yeah. So you probably just hold on to him.
Like,
hopefully
I'll give you one. I had to do the other side of it, and it wasn't for Parker Washington, but I'm struggling just to make the playoffs because of all my injuries this entire year in this industry league. And I just traded Garrett Wilson for Rashid Shaheed to give you, I can't wait on Garrett Wilson. The other manager can. If you can flip Parker Washington for Garrett Wilson and wait, those are the opportunities you should take.
Here are some trades for Parker Washington as of today. Parker Washington 1v1 for RJ Harvey. That I would do for sure.
Harvey.
Especially with
Harvey,
this
no
news
question.
about J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah.
But on the other end of the spectrum, it's Parker Washington for Garrett Wilson, Parker Washington for Marcus Mariota. And then there's packages like this. I mean, I would take the Parker Washington side of this, but Parker Washington and Judkins for Rico Dowdle. I just want Judkins there.
I'd want Dowdle. I talked about it in the waiver column. I think there's 4 clear, maybe 5 running backs I would take over Dowdle at this point. Just coming off a bad game where he didn't even look that good, and he still was treated as the bell cow and had a touchdown in a bad game. My list was Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, Achane, Gibbs. And now I'm having a conversation. I'm seriously having a conversation. Rico Dowdle versus Barkley versus Jacobs versus that's the conversation I think he needs to be in.
All right, let's jump over to Ian's wide receiver rankings for week number 11. Again, you can find Ian's rankings down in the description if you want to go play along. Jamar Chase, JSN, Puka, Lamb, Rashee Rice, Amon-Ra, Devontae Adams, who is questionable to play in this game. Do you guys think that he's going to go with this back problem? He's an old man.
I think so. Sean McVay wouldn't say the most, I'm not Coach Speak Index over here, wouldn't say he's the most reliable, injury narrator from time to time, but they said he probably could have gone back in if he needed to, but I'm with you, Pat. It's certainly a question mark.
Who would stand to benefit the most, Jake, if Devontae Adams was going to say? Would it be Henderson? Is that the guy's name?
No, it'd be Arthur Smith splooging all over the place because they're going to use 3 tight ends again.
They love, if there's one thing that broadcast hammered down, Tom Brady's like, there isn't a lot of tight ends. Here's why.
They ran 13 more than I think anybody this year in that specific game. And that's with Adams out there for most of it. I'm not chasing Whittington. I'm not chasing anybody, just Puka Nacua, the backfield, and the tight ends, plural.
Yeah. Now, we've seen, and we didn't really talk about it during the running backs, but the Corum-Kyren split over the past few weeks has started to
drives
level itself out by drive. But how much of that do you think has to do that they kept getting up really big in these games?
I think that's part of it. The biggest thing. So, like, yeah, they alternated drives last week, which was different from the week before. But I'm with you, Pat. I think part of it is that they were up. But the biggest thing is, even if we're looking at a 60-40 split going forward, it's all Kyren once they get to the goal line. So that's why I'm not that concerned.
Do you have any concern?
Yeah, it's just one of these. Look, Kyren was a top 5 running back in 2023 and 2024, just living off touchdowns and massive volume. We haven't gotten that this year, so that's why he's ranked as RB13. He's been more of a borderline RB1. You're still happy because you have a running back looking at 15 to 20 touches inside of one of the single best offenses in the league. So again, yeah, it'd be a little bit cooler if we had last year's usage. And Blake Corum is more involved than we've seen in the past. That's why, again, he is one of the best handcuffs you can roster out there. But just one of those things where, hey, if you can flip Kyren for, an elite, true, one of those 5 or 6 names that, Jake said earlier, I'm cool with that. But otherwise, again, just be happy he's on your team.
He's got 4 touchdowns in 4 games. 3 out of the 4 games is when he's scored. And to your point, Pat, it's actually been more effective for him in that range by having the split go to Corum.
He's on pace for like 316 touches still. Like, it's not like we're getting completely left out in the cold here.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. I broke my laptop.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Well,
like broke?
Made you that upset.
Oh, that's dog shit. That sucks. All right. Okay. Well, that's no good with the big crack. I can't even see what the rankings are anymore. Terrence Ferguson is who I was trying to say.
Wait,
instead of Henderson.
What the hell did you do?
I threw a pen at it.
Because I cut you off?
Yeah. Well, you cut me off twice and Jake cut me off once. Yeah, there it goes.
Oh, my goodness.
Guess we're running to the Apple store. Oh, how am I going to get my stuff off of this?
That's a good throw, man.
Yeah, I guess I hit it in exactly the right spot. I get a new screen put in. It won't be that bad.
Freaking John Wink in his computer.
Throw up the rankings so I can see them. I can't see from here either. Someone read those out for me.
Go ahead, Jake.
Do you want me to read them? I have his rankings up.
I can't see from here.
Where did we leave off?
But Devontae Adams at 7.
Drake London, Emeka Ibuka, Jalen Waddle, Nico Collins, Justin Jefferson rounds out your wide receiver ones. Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, keep going.
Lad McConkey, George Pickens, Devonta Smith, AJ Brown, Roma Dunze, T. Higgins, Zay Flower, and Marv is your top 20.
Keep going.
Keep going.
50.
Okay, keep going. DK Metcalf, Sutton, Tedero McMillan, Stephon Diggs, Romeo Dubs, who might be hurt, Tez Johnson, Garrett Wilson, no longer there, as Ian texted us last night, Wan'Dale Robinson, Khalil Shakir, and Jawan Jennings.
Not bad. All right, I think I can bring this up on my phone. It's just really, really, really small.
Oh, there you go. Look, I can see the other one, too. So Troy Franklin's now at 30, Jameson Williams 31, Quentin Johnston 32.
You have Franklin above Sutton, right? No, you don't. Why don't you have Franklin above Sutton?
That's a good question.
Dude, I know he's getting the targets. Sutton's still been the guy overall on the season, not as much recently. God, there's not a worse deep ball, connection than Bo Nix and Troy Franklin. They are 2 for 25 on passes thrown 30+ yards downfield. So in points per target leagues, go ahead and fire up Franklin. I do think Sutton gets back on track here soon.
He gets back on track the last 3 games, by the way, because I happened to put this in my column over there. 31% team target percentage, 47.8% of the team's air yards, which to your point, Ian, it's not all of them come down, but 15 receptions, 156 yards and 3 touchdowns and 14 points per game. Sutton, 18 team target percentage, 26 air yards for a whopping 8 receptions, 121 yards and 1 touchdown. I agree with you. Sutton is actually a really good buy low. It's going to come around. But I think this is maybe now a 1A, 1B, and I would still give the 1B to Franklin. I agree with you, but I think this is now close enough that Franklin is now being disrespected still.
Would you guys make a Shaheed's role week 1 with Seattle?
Oh, they were up 35-0. He's clearly the number 2, and he will be the number 2 going forward. This was just 100%. How many? Was he 9 for that being Darnold? I think he was 9 for 11 to start the game and had 2 more pass attempts the rest of the game. This was just they just waxed him out of the gate.
Were they
Jake's
both?
just trying to justify that trade he made. I don't think it's going to be good for Shaheed rest of the way. Cup is not going to go away as much as we would prefer if he did. Torrey Horton was out. And yeah, I know it was Shaheed's first game, with the Seahawks and everything. He will see a bigger role, but just it's still an offense that wants to run the ball. Every other target's going to go to Jackson Smith and the Jig, but Shaheed needs to make the most out of 3 or 4 targets that we're hoping are going to be of the big play variety, which they could be. It was a fantastic real life trade here, but I'm just a little bit worried that we're going to see Shaheed, I don't know, finishing 3rd or 4th on the offense more weeks than not in targets, and they don't throw the ball enough for that to really be working.
See, I'm just looking at it right now. You have Shaheed at number 49, as much as we like our main man, Darius Slayton, who may have had catch of the year last week, or just a very nice catch. I won't get too crazy on it. Like, I would still play Shaheed because of that, like, low volume potential upside, but with Sam Darnold throwing him the ball, even against the Rams, over, hell, I'd play him over DJ Moore at this point.
There was 11 routes in that game. Shaheed ran 8 to Cooper Kupp's 9. Cooper Kupp, this is where we'll disagree. Like, I think Cooper Kupp, that was his last week of even being close to the number 2. He is clearly the 3 at this point. I don't think that you spend that much, not that much, but relative to what people pay in draft cost these days, teams wise, you don't spend that on Shaheed and not have him immediately step in as your number 2 when he has that familiarity with Kubiak to begin with. And watch what Kubiak did. I know you guys did, but look at what Kubiak did with Shaheed last year with freaking Derek Carr. That's what he wants from Shaheed. That's what he's going to bring to this team.
I like the usage for Tyler Lockett against the Broncos last Thursday night too. I think that's going to be,
that was interesting.
It's not going to be like a high, we talked about this too. It's not going to be a high upside spot, but over receptions betting PPR leagues, like, he's going to give you like 80% of what Jacoby Myers should have been giving you.
It is the Cowboys.
Yeah, and it's a great matchup.
I just love, I'm waiting for, speaking of the victory laps, for the Trey Tucker 3-touchdown game that's going to come, and everybody's going to be like, told you, despite the fact that we've been ignoring that he does nothing no matter who's on the field with or without him.
Suppose. Trying to get a new laptop set up here. Go to my.
Do you want me to pick up where they're?
Because I mean, with Tucker and Lockett, I mean, it is just such the Cowboys, the Bengals, and the Steelers. Like, those are the 3, I would say, outlier kind of defenses against wide receivers that we really should be feeling good about. Even I say with the Bengals, they've been almost worse against like running backs and tight ends. DJ Turner actually does a pretty good job there out wide. So Tucker's my wide receiver 41, Lockett's wide receiver 53. But if you wanted to go ahead and just have like Trey Tucker versus DJ Moore, I will admit, if I had that on one of my teams, I'd look long and hard at it. I know I got DJ Moore ranked higher, but it is just, again, such a potential smash matchup that got to consider it.
Trying to see.
Do you want me to ask the questions while you're doing your computer, Pat?
No, I'm just looking down the list. Like, what do you get? Okay, so let's say Booty's out again, which I'm guessing that he is because it's a hamstring injury. Is Demario Douglas too low for Thursday night?
No, because Demario Douglas didn't see a real uptick in his opportunities. That was the big question we didn't know, as if they would kick Stephon Diggs out, and they didn't. They kicked out a basically rotation of Matt Collins and Kyle Williams.
Okay. Any other wide receiver questions you would have then before we move on?
Yeah, the Romeo Dobbs situation. If there is no Dobbs, how high would you move up Nicks, and Wicks, not Nicks? I miss Hakeem Nicks. How far would it be Wicks, and would Wicks be your most moved Packer in that case?
I don't know, Ian, just to jump in, like, I don't know if Matthew Golden's going to be back or not, so I think that would influence it a little bit.
Look, we know with Wicks that it's always tough getting too excited about the guy because, unfortunately, he cannot catch, but he seems to do everything else right. I will say I wasn't bold enough to put it in my column, but one of the things I'm doing now in my kind of 10 things is I look at the most man-heavy defenses, because throughout the NFL, we see wide receivers get targeted much more against man-heavy defenses, and there aren't a lot of them throughout the league. So I'm trying to look at, again, kind of bad man-heavy defenses, and then what wide receivers are seeing big-time spikes in their target shares against man defenses, and Dontavian Wicks was really popping as the Packers' go-to guy, again, when they are seeing man coverage. So how far could I really put him up, though? I think the highest I could probably do would be above Jordan Addison, wide receiver 33.
Here's the question, one more for you, Pat. Do we think Calvin Ridley plays this week since he didn't get traded?
No. Who knows? No one said a freaking word about it in Tennessee for a month.
Wow.
What are these beat reporters doing?
He's going to break his computer, Pat.
I look on Google to try to see what's going on with Calvin Ridley, and I see my own fucking tweet wondering what's going on with Calvin Ridley.
How about this? How about we'll dig into tight ends, defenses, and quarterbacks and their playoff matchup. We already did defense at the beginning of the show. So tight ends and quarterbacks and the best streamers to pick up for your fantasy playoffs right after this. Somewhat surprisingly, I actually take tailgating very seriously. Grill fired up, cooler packed, and yeah, I'm the guy everyone counts on for the food. Whether that's my home barbecues, birthdays, tailgating, doesn't matter what it is, Pat Mayo is always relied upon for bringing the food. That's why I go with Omaha Steaks, the official sponsor of tailgating. They've been America's original butcher for over a century, and everything they send is top-notch, perfectly aged steaks, juicy burgers, those thick, deli-style franks, all delivered directly to your door. I tossed the ribeyes on the grill last weekend. Crazy tender, amazing flavor, and you can taste the quality. There's no off-season for flavor here. Make your next game day delicious with Omaha Steaks. Just head to omahasteaks.com and use promo code MAYO at checkout for $35 off your order. That's omahasteaks.com. Promo code MAYO. Terms apply. See site for details. Whether you like golf, whether you like fantasy, or you just enjoy lots of money, starting the second week of January, the race for the Mayo Cup is on. Join thousands of fantasy players at fantasygolfchampionships.com for your shot at over $1 million in prizes, including the $110,000 first place prize. And this isn't like those giant contests where it goes from $110 to $20. No, everyone who finishes inside the top 250 this year wins at least 4 figures. Everyone inside the top 20 gets 5 figures. And it's simple. Takes 10 seconds a week. You pick one player per week. You can use that guy once all season long. Even if you know nothing about golf, you can still play in this and try to win the grand prize. Sign up now at fantasygolfchampionships.com or hit the description and just use the link. The race for the Mayo Cup is on. Jake, are you getting back into the Mayo Cup this year?
Yes. I love the fact that you have such a flat payout.
See, there you go. See, you heard it in the ad, Ian. You should get in too. If you come 20th, you're going to win at least 10 grand.
Let's do it, man.
Might take you 10 seconds a week and just randomly pick golfers. It'll be perfect.
I did a really nice run last year when I was just picking the most fun name I could find.
See, there you go. There's different strategies that work, Ian.
I'm trying to get my last round of the year in this Friday, man. Sad times. Do you like the Golf X stuff, Pat? I don't know, man. I can't hit golf balls off of simulator turf.
It's just where I live. I've been done for 2 weeks now just because it got too cold or too rainy. We did have a week where we could play it and it just rained every single day. Now it's a bit too cold and all the courses have shut down. But I don't love the Sims, but to get my swings in, I go in the winter.
I feel like the Sim course is just kind of weird. You guys don't have Top Golf?
There's no top golf here.
They at least have some fun games now. You can play Angry Birds and Sonic and stuff.
I'm concerned about shaping my shots and getting my distances queued in for the next year. That's why I like the actual,
it still helps with that.
Not really. I can't use the proper balls that I want to use.
Oh, okay.
I don't like it. I want to be using the balls that I use when I play and trying to figure out my spin rates and working on shaping shots and then trying to figure out my new distances going into the next year.
I am not that good. Kudos to you.
I hope to one day be at the point where I actually expect to have the same ball for more than 3 or 4 shots at a time.
Hey, I play with my underdog Provies. They sent me
nice
1,000 balls, so I always have the same ball, even though I lose a ton. It's fine. All right, tight end rankings.
Always got the same balls.
McBride is at the top against San Francisco this week at home. Bowers, Kittle, Jake Ferguson, Travis Kelce, Sam Laporta. Gadsden, Ian, you have at number 7. You think he's going to play?
They're saying day to day. Sounds like Kincaid is the one who's, more so going to be out of the picture here. He got the week to week designation. So we'll see what happens. Apparently, avoided the worst of it. So if he is going to be out of the picture, though, I think that would be good news for Quentin Johnson above anyone else. I mean, you look at some of the biggest risers and fallers at wide receiver, first 5 weeks versus last 5 weeks. McConkey's been the one back up there, averaging 19 fantasy points per game since week 6. QJ's been the one falling off a cliff more weeks than not. So he had an injury mixed in there as well. But yeah, if Gaston is out, I'm not moving Will Dissly or Tyler Conklin up the ranks. I think more so it's just good news for QJ.
I can see that. Do you think that the rise of Lad McConkey has to do with Gadsden's just impact on the field, Jake, that if he goes away that maybe McConkey falls too?
No, because the bigger detractor here is, this would also be a boost for Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen's route share has plummeted the last 3 weeks, and that's really been the big thing too, is because to the debate we were having a few weeks ago, Gasson and Keenan Allen absorb the same space unless we're talking the end zone, which is where the agreement comes in with Ian, as I was saying, that's where the hurt is for Quentin Johnson, is the touchdown upside. But I think you would see more of Keenan Allen back on the field more often in routes. So I think Ladd McConkey was just a constant. It was just an offset season where they needed to not use him that much to start the year, and it's just come back around. And look, basically Ladd McConkey went from a buy low to just being Ladd McConkey.
Okay, after that, it's Goddard, Andrews, Otten, Kyle Pitts at number 12, and then Theo Johnson, Dalton Schultz, Fannin, who was banged up against the Jets but played, but it did seem to affect him a little bit, at least in the production that he put up. Colston Loveland is down at 18. You got Greg Dulcich down at 21. If you had to pick a sleeper from this list, Jake, who would it be?
Musgrave, just because of all the injuries and going against the Giants. The Giants matchup is favorable for him. And then again, we talked about it. Was Wicks got like 8 or 9 targets? To Ian's point, only caught half of them. So that would be the one that I would dive down to. Maybe Mason Taylor if we get Tyrod Taylor, because well, we all know what Justin Fields passed for last week, and that they don't have Garrett Wilson.
Now, obviously, they're your rankings, Ian, so they're in the order that you like them. But if you did have to take a flyer on someone from, let's say, outside the top 20 in a desperation stream, who do you think it would be?
It would be the last guy you said, Greg Dulcich. And maybe I'm partial because I picked him up last week in my 32-team league where the pickings are slim and we need guys like Dulcich to work out. But honestly, he's kind of been on the same track as Darren Waller. 3 games now for Dulcich. His routes has gone from 36% to 47% to 74%. And again, this Dolphins team, as much as I don't think they're going to be competing for a playoff spot, I mean, Tua and McDaniel aren't going anywhere. And they've, kept fighting week in and week out. Obviously, a huge win last week. So obviously, Jalen Waddle and Devon Achane to be the 1-2. But there's room for a third in there. We haven't really seen Malik Washington take a significant step forward. And with Darren Waller being out for the foreseeable future with that pec injury, that's not season ending, but just for the time being, it does seem like Greg Dulcich is going to be that tight end 1 in Miami.
Well, let's quickly move to, go ahead, Jake. It sounded like you wanted to say something. I don't want to break another laptop.
No, that's why I paused. Let's just make sure. I was going to say you could take the chance on Higbee because Higbee ran the most routes for the tight ends if there is no Devontae Adams.
Okay. Well, let's go to quarterbacks for the week. Josh Allen comes at number 1, even though he sucks now. Lamar Jackson at number 2. Mahomes is back. He's at number 3. Hurts, Drake May, Herbert. Dart is in there at number 7. I don't think Dart's going to play.
Concussion.
We'll see. Probably not. I won't
We're
start
about
him if
that
he
point
doesn't
of the
play.
year. I was going to say, we're at that point of the year, Pat, that you bring up every single season where it's about right now where these concussions start to only take 1 week all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I do wonder, though, Pat, like once Dart does come back, is he even going to have the same usage as a rusher that made him so exciting in the first place? You would think that Mike Kafka kind of reads the room and sees how big of a reason that seemingly was with Dable getting canned. So Dart literally, despite not starting until week 4, leads all quarterbacks in total fantasy points from rushing. So if we do see that happen, obviously doesn't have too many great options to throw the ball to other than all-world wide receiver 1, Darius Slayton. So it could be a situation where Dart, maybe already had his best games of the season.
I just don't think that you can coach that out of Dart as of yet. I think that's like an offseason thing because they said this about Josh Allen for like 3 straight years, Jake, where he's got to run less, and just in the game, he just runs.
Well, and they did it for Cam Newton's entire career, and he never listened to them. So I think there's certain things that it's hard. Like you could go Tim Tebow. They tried to coach his throwing motion, and it's just some things you just can't fix. I will say, though, I do think he's smart enough that he might start to slide more instead of going for that extra 5, 10, even 15 yards. And so there's the one offset where I will agree with Ian a little bit, is that just maybe that he's realized that like maybe I go down feet first instead of my head first for another 15 yards and go find myself in the hospital with Cam Scadaboo.
Going down the list after Dart, would you have Russell Wilson at number 7 as his replacement, Ian?
I was thinking more like QB5, just, with the ups. Nah, I'm just playing. Russ would probably be down there. McCarthy's QB 21, T-Law's QB 22. I'd have Russ down there with, I'd start
Stroud
over him. No, probably. I would start Russell Wilson over Justin Fields. I can say that.
I was about to say I would start Tua over Russ. So
Me too.
Pretty far down there.
I've got very little right this year, but the Fields getting benched was just terrific, although he's made his way back. It took a Tyrod injury to get him back in.
You know what kills me with it too is like we had the game last week, and we all know Fields is an atrocious passer. Like that has been firmly, proven to all of us at this point. But in a game where Garrett Wilson comes in, plays 19 snaps and he's injured, Alan Lazard's a healthy scratch, Josh Reynolds is on IR. You only dialed up 3 design runs for Justin Fields. Like you might as well start Tyrod if you're not going to play the one thing the dude does good out there.
He couldn't get away from that defensive line. They were all over him, and it seemed like Myles Garrett was almost as fast as he was.
Scary.
Yeah, but Dexter Lawrence, more return yards on fumbles than Justin Fields passing yards.
That's amazing. So after Dart at 7, it'd be Dak, Caleb, Baker, Stafford, Darnold, Flacco, Jordan Love against the Giants at 14, Goff against Philly at 15. I mean, I swung and missed after Jake, you admonished me last week about Aaron Rodgers, but I think I would have him higher against Cincinnati, honestly.
Aaron Rodgers hasn't looked good but one game this year. What are you waiting for him?
Well, he's playing Cincinnati.
That's Cincy. Yeah.
No, I thought I was going to say I would play Goff over Love even in Philly at this point. But that's about it. I think that it's really tough because you want to rank Goff higher, but in Philly, you want to rank Bo Nix higher, but bad matchup against Kansas City coming out of the bye with 2 weeks to prepare on top of it because Andy Reid never loses after a bye until he does. So it's tough to pick apart too much of the quarterback rankings.
I would probably go higher on this kind of range. I mean, I don't know how high I would end up putting them, just kind of looking at it. I wouldn't play Love or Goff. I'd bump Mariota down. I'd have this like Mac Jones, Geno Smith, and JJ McCarthy tier a little bit higher, just almost simply based on matchups and how I think those teams are going to score.
I was going to say, you could argue for Mac Jones being higher.
I think JJ McCarthy's in a nice spot. I mean, Chicago's defense is opportunistic. It's not good. The game's indoors, and he has the rushing upside.
A little bit. The problem is the volume passing. They don't ask him to throw a ton, and then when he does, he only completes about 50% of his passes because about 50% of them are off target.
Catch the ball, Justin Jefferson. I'll say it. 25 yards right in the midst. Supposed to be the best wide receiver on the planet. Do something with it.
To be fair, that one catch, absolutely no question, Ian, but I deep dived on this one too, is McCarthy. The biggest difference between McCarthy and Wentz is almost nothing when it comes to Jefferson with air yards, targets, target percentage, routes, like everything is neck and neck. The biggest difference is catchable targets and catch percentage because most of the targets, it was 86% catchable targets with Carson Wentz. It's 60 something percent with JJ McCarthy. And yes, he should have caught that one, but the biggest problem is McCarthy's targets are off.
Okay, let's see. Oh, you're in the chat.
What are you reading on, by the way?
I'm reading on my phone. I tried to open up this other laptop, but it wouldn't connect to the internet. Why is Tua so low against the Commanders? Probably because Tua kind of reeks. That's probably why. I'm guessing.
Because which Tua are you going to get?
But yeah,
Tua faced.
There's no rushing upside. We're hopeful that Waddle gets his 90 yards and a touchdown. After that, like anything else is just, cake. And I don't expect to eat much cake with Tua.
If you had to, which of the Pittsburgh tight ends would you stream this week?
Probably John. Get this though, that Rams game inspired me to look at like what if we had a team tight end position in fantasy and they all just collectively accounted, for one score. And the Rams, would be 7th on the season. They'd actually be 2nd over the last 5 weeks. The Pittsburgh Steelers as a team have scored the 5th most tight end points, even though their number 1 tight end, Pat Freiermuth, only ranks tight end 29. So give me Johnu, but goodness gracious, man. What a, just perfect Arthur Smith situation going on in Pittsburgh.
All right, what else? I almost dropped Tet McMillan for Alec Pierce last week. So would you drop Ricky Pearsall at this point, even though he might be like fighting his way back?
For Alec Pierce, yes.
Yeah, Alec Pierce is like a top 30 guy, pretty solidly.
12th in yards per game.
It's good. He finally got a touchdown too.
What is he averaging? Like 20 yards a reception?
Yeah, listen, I would kind of cut Jerry Jeudy out of my life. He got a touchdown on one of the worst thrown balls I've ever seen.
I am saying though, first game of the year. There's no way.
He does have like just one smash matchup after another coming up. I know Gabriel's horrible. I have never been a Shedeur Sanders believer. I'm not planning on beginning, but maybe Shedeur could be better than Gabriel, who's like been the worst quarterback in the entire NFL at this point. So Jeudy is probably the one wide receiver out there who you can get for maybe nothing. He might literally be on your waiver wire, and the schedule is freaking crazy coming up. But Pat, my question was going to be, again, we had Jeudy score. We just had Alec Pierce score. Can you name still now the number 1 player in the league, most targets without a receiving touchdown?
Oh, Olave got his, didn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, Olave.
got a
Yeah,
few.
that was a big game for him.
Darius Slayton?
Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, that's right.
Again. Not good Patriots days.
And he caught a touchdown last week. It just got overturned.
False start. Yep. That sucked.
Yeah, I think it was an illegal shift. They were celebrating and it was like, oh no, bring it back.
And Kate Otten's number 2.
Is that receptions? You said most receptions without a touchdown?
Or most targets without a receiving touchdown.
I was actually looking at, who has the most yards without a touchdown? Darius Slayton's number 2 on this list without a touchdown.
Is it another receiver of that same ilk?
It's a receiver who had a really nice rapport with a replacement quarterback. There's a giant hit for you.
Chris Moore? No, Chris Moore had one. No, Luke McCaffrey has a touchdown. I'm trying to think. Is it someone on Washington?
Nope. San Francisco.
Is it
Bourne?
Yep.
Bourne didn't have a touchdown?
482 yards. 482 yards and 0 touchdowns.
Wow.
What happened to Kittle came back and they were like, no more Bourne. Get out of here.
It was a healthy Juwan Jennings.
Yeah.
To your point, Pat, you called that one last year and this year when everything goes down and he's the lead option. He is the lead option.
Yeah, and when he's not playing through broken ribs, apparently.
Again, how do you have 5 broken ribs and 2 broken ankles, essentially, and then you play next week and everything's 100% fine?
You get the better drugs.
He's full of crap.
Get the better drugs. Okay, here's a few questions to end this off. I'm set at running back. I have Woody Marks on the bench. Had Daniels and Kyler, now playing Mariota. Would you give up Marks for Rodgers or just play Mariota? I would just play Mariota.
Yeah.
I've got Ridley and Ricky Bullets. Need to drop one. Who would you drop? I would just drop Ridley because healthy or hurt, he still scores 0 points.
God. This is why waiver wires should be Wednesday, not Tuesday, so we can at least get 1 day of practice reports on these dudes. So probably Ricky.
Are you subtweeting me there, Ian?
No, your flex leagues are the worst, Jake. 5 p.m. 5 p.m., man. Come on.
I no, because they need to be Tuesday because we try to use us for example for everybody else out there to watch us. And I tried to make it later in the day, at least on Tuesday and not first thing in the morning.
That makes sense to me, actually.
See?
It's a
Waiver wire Wednesday.
It's a league of,
Alliteration.
it's a league of
I know, but
content people trying to write
us.
about it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
How fast do you think I can get my screen replaced on a laptop?
What kind of laptop is it? Apple?
It's an Apple.
Yeah, probably within a day.
All right.
Around
see all
here, I
those
don't know about
ads.
Canada.
You got the money for next day. You
Yeah,
got this.
well, unfortunately, it's a holiday here, so I can't run and do it right now.
Ooh.
It's true.
And is it
Shout out to
what
the
generation is it?
I got it a year ago.
Oh yeah, you should be able to get that replaced almost probably like same day if you go to Apple Store.
Boom. That's what I'm going to be doing as of tomorrow. So I'll go do that. Sorry for not answering all the questions. I could barely see them towards the end. But thanks, Jake, for pulling it through. I forgot what a solid host you are.
Yeah, that's sometimes. Better friend.
At AllInKid on Twitter, theathletic.com for all of Jake's rankings. For Ian, his rankings are out right now at fantasylife.com, and you can catch him all week over. Are you on Sirius as well, or just the YouTube channel at Fantasy Life?
YouTube, it's also on Fubo, Roku, all sorts of jazz, and audio only, Spotify and Apple and all that. The Fantasy Life Show. Maybe, I do enjoy going to Sirius time to time. Shout out Kendall Valenzuela, Adam Ronis holding it down for Team Fantasy Life over there.
Ronis is on that show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ronis. Haven't seen him in years.
Doing good stuff. Don't you have like something free over there too, Ian?
You still rocking the ponytail? Free? No, I don't think so. Code Ian, 20% off, probably.
There you go.
Yeah. 4for4.com/Mayo to get the Sharp Stack app if you want some props for the games. We were on a heater last night. Unfortunately, I got greedy in Monday Night Football and just didn't bet them individually. We went 7-1 with the props, and of course, my prop lost, and it was in all of my parlays, so I lost too. Hence, why you should probably just bet them individually. You can do that with Sharp Stack. Code Mayo50 will get you 50% off and a free week to go try it out. All right, I'm Pat Mayo. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.